The biggest culture shock I've had since I arrived in China, I remember when my wife and I were visiting a wet market, and all of a sudden we saw this group of people around two men that had two crickets and they were fighting each other. I think it's called Shuai. It's a very, very old tradition dating back to the Tang Dynasty, where in the month of September, people will get crickets and have them fight each other, which is quite interesting. And we were quite shocked and quite surprised to see that in a wet market. A culture shock normally has a negative connotation, but when you have the opportunity to visit a new country, a culture shock could also be a positive surprise, a pleasant surprise. I think approaching a culture shock with curiosity and wanting to learn more about what's behind the tradition or what's behind the thing that shocked you is going to help you learn more about the culture. So, did you know, Jasmine, that the best crickets come from Hebei, Hunan, or Shandong province? The Laobans that actually sell the crickets can make up to 1,000 yuan a day selling crickets. It's quite fascinating. Besides learning the language, I take the time in my classes to ask my teacher about some of the things that I see on my daily life or what I do on the weekends, and ask questions about why and why not certain things happen, or what are the differences between the different provinces, or the food, or the things that I see. So having that level of expertise and somebody that I can trust, that can help me validate and ask questions about what's happening in the country is really important to me, because it allows me to learn more about just beyond the language. You know, what are the culture details, what are the things that are happening in the country at any given moment, the tradition, the holidays, the fascinating things that make the makeup of the culture. So having Silk and the teachers allowing me to ask these questions has been very important to me. Not too long ago, when we were having this massive heat wave in Shanghai, Joanna posted something around the end of summer and the weekend in which, in theory, the last hot day of the summer happens. And so it actually happened that was the actual last hot day, and then from then on the weather changed. So I asked, what about this tradition, what is this based off, and obviously it has to do with farming, has to do with the change of seasons, has to do with the change of weather and what happens then, and there's a whole reason behind these key days in the calendar that were really important in the past, and that if we don't remember today, we'll lose the culture. So I really enjoy that part. I would say first, have an open mind. China probably is different from the place that you come from. Take the time to look for the differences, but also take the time to look for the similarities. As an example, I am from Spain, and really early on I realized that there's many common things actually with Spain and China. For example, family is very important to us, and in multiple times we have multiple generations in one roof. Also, food is very important in Spain. Tapas is basically what we're best known for, which are small dishes that are shared among everybody at the table. And in China, it is the same. You sit at the table and you order a lot of dishes and you share them with everybody else. So there's a lot of similarities, there's a lot of differences, but take the time to learn and come in with an open mind. Second, China is a really big country. From Harbin in the north to Hainan in the south, from Shanghai to Sichuan, there's many provinces, many minorities, many amazing, beautiful places to visit, incredible food. So take the time to visit and explore, and I guarantee you that you'll have plenty to do. And last but not least, learn the language, obviously. I think if you speak a little bit of Mandarin, you can get around the country yourself, you can order food, you can get into taxis, you can do a lot of things by yourself that otherwise you wouldn't be able to do. And people really appreciate if you speak a little bit of Mandarin when you go into adventures outside of the big city. So for sure invest, because it's an investment that will return many times over. So you have time for things that are important. If you are passionate about working out and sports, you have time. If you're passionate about friendships and family, you have time. if you're passionate about languages and learning other cultures, you have time. So whether it's small or big, whether it's a 10-minute video or a podcast, or coming to school or doing a remote online session, you can always find a little bit of time, and I guarantee you that the time that you invest, you will actually get the rewards when you are in that situation where, you know, the words that you just learned the week before become very handy and you're able to get what you want. And you actually feel really, really good afterwards. You know, when you go to a restaurant in a different province and you're able to order and the person at the restaurant is actually quite happy that you can have a conversation, you actually walk away feeling really good and really proud of yourself. So take the time and invest in learning the language. Last Chinese New Year, a couple of friends and I flew with our bicycles to Zhenjiang in Guangdong province, and we cycled all the way to the ferry, took the ferry to Haikou, and then we cycled in Sanya for the entire duration of Chinese New Year. So we cycled about 600 kilometers, but along the way we met a lot of people. We were part of the many celebrations that happen in Chinese New Year. Lots of bread, lots of fireworks, lots of amazing food. We got invited to a home to make dumplings, and they invited us to the table on Chinese New Year Eve, which was amazing. So we wouldn't have known and found out about all these traditions if we were not adventurers, but also if we didn't speak a little bit of language to communicate with some of the people we met along the way. China is a very modern and very futuristic country. You know, people don't use cash anymore. Everything is digital. Social media is ever present. Is very innovative and creative. You know, if you come in with an open mind, you're probably going to see things here that you have not seen in other parts of the world. So if you have the opportunity to come and spend a few years here, why not? You're going to learn, you're going to grow, you're going to develop. Hopefully you're going to make amazing friends, you're going to learn a new language, and you're going to walk away with incredible working skills that probably you wouldn't have otherwise. So take the calculated risk. If the opportunity presents, say yes, and see you here.